as these dig sites are now showing these walls extend below the surface with the same level of precision engineering and size as is shown on the surface.
Is that we're looking at a two-phase construction site in many of the so-called Inca stone monuments.
What if Sacsayhuamán was never meant to stand alone, but to hide what lies beneath it? Those towering stones may be less of a fortress and more of a seal, locking away something ancient and deliberate. Below the surface, stories speak of passageways cut deep into the earth, places authorities refuse to acknowledge.
Tunnels extend far out into the Andes, connecting various complexes and sites together. The mysteries of Sacsayhuamán go much deeper than just on the surface.
Locals whisper about underground routes that distort sound, interfere with electronics, and vanish into total darkness. Some say the tunnels connect distant sites across the Andes. Others claim they were closed for a reason. So what's really buried under Sacsayhuamán? And who decided it should stay hidden? The forbidden depths. What lies beneath Sacsayhuamán? Long before archaeologists brought radar equipment to the site, local legends whispered of a world beneath Sacsayhuamán, a world of hidden chambers, endless tunnels, and doorways that led to secrets the surface wasn't meant to reveal. And when ground-penetrating radar was finally deployed in the 2010s by international researchers collaborating with Peruvian authorities, those whispers began to echo with eerie truth.
The most basic signature that we would be looking for would be the foundations of circular structure.
Beneath the zigzagging megalithic walls of the fortress lie anomalies, deep voids, angled chambers, and what appear to be carved tunnels stretching both downward and outward from the main plateau. In particular, beneath the Muyuk Marca Tower, a central circular foundation whose purpose has baffled historians, radar imaging revealed what looked like hollowed corridors cut through solid bedrock, some dropping several meters in sharply linear patterns that don't occur naturally. This was no accident of geology. The substructures appeared not only to be artificially created, but intentionally hidden. In fact, several of the known entrances to these underground features, especially near the Chincana Grande, meaning Great Labyrinth, were officially sealed off by the government in the early 20th century. Why? Because, as reported in the Cusco archives, multiple young explorers had entered the tunnels over the years, only for some of them to never return. One chilling case in 1923 involved a teenager whose disappearance prompted mass panic and emergency closures. The only thing found afterward was a partially collapsed interior wall and scorch marks inside a sealed cavity. No official explanation was ever given, but perhaps the most startling fact is this. Some of these tunnels are said to run all the way from Sacsayhuamán to Coricancha, the former Temple of the Sun in central Cusco, over 2 kilometers away. That's not just architectural ambition. That's precision subterranean planning. Some believe the Incas merely reused much older structures built by a lost civilization. Others go further, pointing to similarities with the underground temple vaults of Egypt, or even megalithic pre-Inca sites like Tiwanaku in Bolivia. Could these tunnels have served as emergency escape routes for priests or royalty, smuggling paths for sacred artifacts? Or were they part of something deeper, something cosmological? To this day, georadar studies in the Muyuk Marca zone remain incomplete, disrupted by unexplained electromagnetic interference. Signals drop, equipment malfunctions. One theory posits the area holds a natural magnetic anomaly. Another, more fringe, claims buried metallic technology once powered by telluric energy. Whatever the truth is, the real story of Sacsayhuamán may still be buried literally beneath our feet, the tired stone and the sealed entrance to a lost world. Just steps away from the main Sacsayhuamán complex rests something so enormous, so strangely misplaced, that local people have given it a name filled with equal parts dread and respect. La Piedra Cansada, known as the Tired Stone, stretches almost 9 meters long and is believed to weigh more than 200 tons. The Tired Stone leans awkwardly against a hillside, looking as if it suddenly surrendered mid-journey. And according to legend, that image is no coincidence. Local oral stories say that thousands of Inca workers were ordered to haul the stone from a distant quarry. During the move, it allegedly slipped free, tumbled downhill, and crushed an entire line of laborers below. After this tragedy, people believed the stone was cursed, and the place where it came to rest was avoided. Yet this is where the mystery grows deeper. Behind the Tired Stone is what seems to be an ancient opening carved into the ground, partially buried by landslide debris and thick vegetation. In the early 1900s, explorers reported that this hollow was once a structured entrance, wide enough for people to enter, and that it led straight into an immense tunnel beneath the Chincana rock formation. Spanish writings from the 16th century, including those by Garcilaso de la Vega and Cieza de León, even describe a massive underground route from this location that supposedly connected to the hidden chambers of Coricancha and its golden figures. These accounts only strengthen theories that the stone's position was intentional, that it was meant to block something far more significant. In 1989, a group of local and German researchers tried to dig around the Tired Stone. According to unpublished records from the Cusco Historical Society, they uncovered a man-made hollow beneath the surface almost 4 meters deep, showing tool marks on its walls and what appeared to be the start of a staircase. Yet only days after beginning the excavation was suddenly stopped. Officials cited safety risks and unstable terrain. Privately, rumors claimed the team had found carvings, symbols neither Quechua nor Spanish, but far older. No images were ever shared, which only intensified speculation. A 1996 infrared aerial survey of the region reportedly revealed unusual heat patterns beneath the stone, hinting at an empty chamber below. Even so, no modern archaeological effort has been allowed to return to the site. Why the resistance? Some argue the Peruvian government wants to protect a sacred location. Others suspect it's about control, about ensuring whatever lies underneath remains sealed away from the world. The hidden foundation, layers that should not exist. What makes the underground mystery even more disturbing is what engineers observed when erosion and limited digs revealed the deepest layers beneath Sacsayhuamán's walls. These are not ordinary foundations. Below the visible zigzag megaliths exists a buried level of construction that looks older, rougher in design, yet strangely more massive. In several revealed areas, the lower stones are bigger than those above, firmly locked into bedrock, and arranged in a pattern that does not align with traditional Inca masonry. This breaks a fundamental architectural rule the Incas followed everywhere else. They consistently improved their stonework over time, never reversed it. Geologist Dr. Kurt Hall, who examined the site's bedrock layers in the late 20th century, observed that some of these lower stones seemed to be carved straight from the living rock, as if the builders were sculpting the mountain itself rather than piling stones atop it. Tool marks found on these buried blocks are different from those on surface walls. They are wider, deeper, and missing the steady hammering patterns typical of Inca stone shaping. Even more confusing, several foundation stones appear to have been set in place before the upper hillside was fully shaped, implying the land itself may have been altered after construction had already started. This has fueled one of the most controversial ideas about Sacsayhuamán, that the Incas inherited an ancient core structure and built upward over it, strengthening and adapting something far older. Comparable patterns appear at Ollantaytambo and Pumapunku, where finely crafted Inca stonework rests directly on rough, deeply embedded megaliths that archaeologists struggle to accurately date. In many cases, organic material suitable for carbon dating is entirely missing, effectively locking these lower layers outside the timeline. Adding to the mystery, drainage channels carved into these buried levels seem far more sophisticated than what surface runoff would require. Some channels angle inward, guiding water underground rather than away from the structure. Engineers who studied these channels suggest they may have been designed to manage pressure, reduce seismic liquefaction, or even move water through subterranean chambers below. This raises an unsettling question. Why pour such engineering precision into structures meant to stay unseen? Local Quechua elders have long said Sacsayhuamán was built from the inside out, a phrase early Spanish chroniclers dismissed as superstition. Yet, when viewed through modern geology and structural engineering, that phrase begins to feel less mythical and far more literal. Acoustic echoes and the breathing stones phenomenon. There is yet another layer to the mystery of Sacsayhuamán, one that isn't hidden underground, but carried through the air itself. Visitors and researchers have repeatedly described strange acoustic effects when standing between the massive zigzag stone walls. Certain sounds, especially clapping, chanting, or footsteps, behave in unexpected ways. Instead of fading normally, they rebound in unusual patterns, echoing as though the walls are amplifying or even warping the sound. In 2005, an interdisciplinary team from the University of San Marcos carried out acoustic resonance tests and discovered that sound frequencies between 200 and 500 Hz echoed far more strongly between the walls than in the nearby open landscape. It was almost as if the entire complex had been deliberately tuned for sound. Even stranger are the long-told local accounts of what are called the breathing stones. During particular seasons, especially at dawn or dusk, locals say they hear gentle, rhythmic pulses coming from the base of certain stones, resembling slow, deep breaths of air. These are not merely stories for visitors. As recently as 2018, a National Geographic-supported expedition recorded low-frequency vibrations near the Coca area that appeared to rise and fall in a slow, wave-like motion. Although officially explained as wind interacting with natural pores in the stone, one researcher privately suggested the stones might be resonating due to underground cavities or unknown energy sources beneath the hill. This has revived older theories long rejected by mainstream archaeology. Some propose that Sacsayhuamán is not just built on a natural fault line, but actively interacting with it. The intentional selection of stone types, limestone above and andesite below, the interlocking construction and the unusual acoustic behavior may not be symbolic or decorative, but functional. Could these enormous stones have been arranged to harness low-frequency seismic vibrations? Ancient Andean myths speak of stones that spoke, stones that came alive when summoned. Is this simply metaphorical language, or a hidden reference to real physical effects? Dr. John D. Earls, a scholar of Andean cosmology, once proposed that certain Inca sites were intentionally aligned with Earth's energy pathways, similar to ley lines across the planet. The solar code hidden within stone alignments. If underground tunnels and resonating stones weren't mysterious enough, there is another often missed element of Sacsayhuamán that could reshape how the site is understood: its connection to the sky. Most visitors explore it from ground level, amazed by the size and precision of the walls, yet few realize the entire complex is aligned with celestial movements. In 2016, research by archaeoastronomer Julio Magli from the Polytechnic University of Milan showed that sections of the fortress line up almost perfectly with solar events, particularly solstices and equinoxes. When standing at specific viewing points in Sacsayhuamán during the June or December solstice, the sun seems to rise or set directly behind certain stone outcrops or towers that appear randomly placed until those exact days. But the mystery goes further. According to Quechua oral traditions passed down by descendants of Inca astronomer priests, the House of the Sun was more than symbolic. It functioned as a working calendar. The zigzag walls may represent not only lightning, as some suggest, but the movement of the sun's shadow across the valley. When shadows fall at precise angles on specific days, they point toward distant peaks or caves, some containing water channels, carved seats, or ceremonial platforms. These locations were likely used to predict agricultural cycles, guiding planting and harvesting with remarkable accuracy. And notably, this pattern only becomes clear when seen from above or reconstructed using aerial LiDAR imaging. What raises even more questions is how these solar alignments correspond with what lies beneath the surface. Several surface alignments lead directly to sealed entrances or underground voids identified through ground-penetrating radar. This has inspired bold theories suggesting the Incas, or an earlier civilization, encoded time and space together. Stones above tracking the heavens, while underground passages monitored something else entirely. Perhaps water flow, seasonal temperature changes, or even seismic activity. Ancient Andean mythology speaks of the Pachacuti, a cosmic cycle that renews the world every few thousand years, linked to celestial shifts. Could the hidden sections of Sacsayhuamán be a vault of time, a message intended for future societies? Even the Spanish sensed something unusual. Early chronicles note that the Inca priesthood kept records not on paper, but written in stars and stone. The mysterious cutouts and impossible carvings on remote outcrops. Scattered around Sacsayhuamán, but especially beyond the fortress walls, in the more rugged, less explored hills, are some of the most baffling features of the entire site. Stone cutouts that defy explanation. These aren't buildings or walls. They are natural rock outcrops carved into precise geometric forms, sometimes in the middle of sheer cliffs or nearly inaccessible ridges. Some of these shapes resemble staircases that lead nowhere. Others take the form of deep rectangular slots, perfectly flat platforms, or strangely symmetrical hollows. Yet they serve no obvious structural purpose. They don't hold up anything. They don't connect to other structures. Most are hidden from main paths, out of sight for casual visitors. In 2013, a team of Peruvian and French researchers conducting a drone survey discovered a formation now called the Inverted Temple. It's a single natural rock about 20 meters across, carved with 3 deep cavities at exact 90-degree angles, forming an interior corner that looks almost machine-made. Despite being cut into incredibly hard andesite, the edges were sharper than Bronze Age tools could plausibly produce. One researcher even compared the smoothness of some surfaces to modern lathe work. Yet no metal tools or polishing methods of that sophistication existed in pre-Columbian times. Some hollows contain small protrusions or bosses left deliberately on otherwise smooth faces. These knobs resemble those found at ancient sites in Egypt and Turkey, including Saqqara and Hattusa. The purpose of these features is hotly debated. Were they used for lifting, for measuring, or as symbolic markers coordinating construction across distances? No explanation fully accounts for why they appear only on certain stones, and often in patterned arrangements, as if part of an unknown code. Then there are platforms with deliberately carved channels, some only a few centimeters wide, but perfectly straight for meters. Several of these grooves lead toward underground fissures or disappear over cliff edges? Were they ceremonial tracks for liquids, rainwater management systems, or something more advanced? Perhaps designed to control water pressure, resonance, or even energy? What makes these features so striking is their isolation. They often stand alone, separate from Sacsayhuamán's main walls and towers, yet their craftsmanship matches, or even surpasses, the central structures. This has led some researchers to propose that they were not merely extensions of the fortress, but experiments, blueprints, or remnants of an ancient construction technology now lost to history. The strange magnetic anomalies and compass failures around the megaliths, as if underground tunnels, flawless stonework, and precise solar alignment weren't enough. Sacsayhuamán seems to interfere with magnetism itself. Over the last 20 years, both researchers and visitors have repeatedly described a strange occurrence: compasses that stop working correctly near certain stones within the complex. Most notably, around the central tower bases and the enormous outer walls, compass needles have been seen spinning wildly or fixing themselves in directions that align with neither true north nor magnetic north. In 2008, a collaborative study by Peruvian geophysicists and Japanese scientists from Kyoto University set out to examine this anomaly in a controlled way. Using high-sensitivity magnetometers, they detected abrupt changes in the local magnetic field near specific stones, especially those containing higher amounts of iron-rich material. The oddest detail is that not every similar stone caused interference. Only particular blocks, often those set deeper within the structure or placed at critical zigzag wall angles, produced measurable magnetic shifts. Even more puzzling, these disturbances were not permanent. They appeared and disappeared over time, sometimes fading completely, then reappearing days or even weeks later. One of the most striking findings came from an experiment near a little-known platform beside the Kachcha area. A small drone equipped with a magnetometer briefly lost navigational stability when flown directly above a single polygonal joint. After landing, its recorded data revealed a sharp spike in geomagnetic activity at that exact spot, lasting just under 6 seconds. There was no obvious cause, no buried cables, no metal structures, only stone. These observations have sparked several bold theories. One proposes that Sacsayhuamán was deliberately designed to interact with Earth's magnetic field, possibly as an early or advanced form of geomagnetic engineering. Another connects the anomalies to telluric currents, natural electrical flows within the Earth that could be focused or redirected by the buried foundations. Some researchers even suggest the Incas, or an earlier culture, may have known how to energize stone through electromagnetic resonance, creating powerful nodes once used for ceremonial or energetic purposes. Then there is the most controversial idea of all, that these stones were not merely carved, but altered at a molecular level using sound, magnetism, or unknown energy sources to change their internal structure. This could help explain the stone's strange acoustic breathing, magnetic behavior, and near-impossible precision. While mainstream archaeology dismisses such claims as pseudoscience, even skeptics admit one thing: the instruments are recording something real.